Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Saturday, January 11th, talking about the state of the Celtics because they haven't been where they probably want to be. They haven't been where a lot of fans expected them to be at this point, which is ironic considering they're still like they have a good record. They're 27-11. They're fine. They're not like in the play-in, or they're not the Bucks, or they're not the Sixers, but they're 5-5 in the last 10, 8-7 in the last 15. It just feels like there has been somewhat of a downturn in terms of the intensity and some of the small things since last season.
I saw a great Reddit post today that was like, we're all kind of forced to buy in to the idea that they're going to turn up in the playoffs because there's nothing else we can really like talk about at this point. There's no roster moves to be made. There's no tweaking to be done. All that there is to do is go out there and play hard and execute and win. And we haven't seen them do that for the last month or so. They've been inconsistent. They haven't been able to shoot the three, which we'll talk about. They haven't been as consistent as they should be on defense because the offense hasn't been good. Missoula talked about that last night. And we've talked about that in the past too, just not in the same verbiage as he did. Basically, what we say is when they struggle on offense, they get frustrated and the defense suffers. With all that being said, again, there's nothing that we can really say or analyze or speculate on because this is the team. This is who you have. This is who the coach is. These are who the players are. There's no moves. They have to go out there and do it. And they haven't done it. And that's what sucks.
Yeah, we can start there. So in their last, I think this is 10 games, and Kirk Goldsberry posted this. They have the second
prior to yesterday, by the way.
Okay, sure. Yeah, this was January 10th, so this was before the Kings game, but still. Celtics had the second best net, the third best offense, fourth best defense, and yet they were around 500 or a game above 500 or hovering that mark in those games. And a big answer, and I know Cam Tibetabai asked about it after the game last night. Celtics in the fourth quarter, 8th best offense, 26th best defense, which is a pretty significant fall off when you're the second best net rating in the NBA over that span. I don't know. It just feels like they've been getting a little too cute with some of the stuff they're doing on defense. I think there have been a lot of communication or lack of focus errors defensively. I know, like, the Kings didn't shoot particularly well in the game they played last night, but I still thought the Celtics perimeter defense was not where it needed to be. I thought the Kings were getting to spots too easily. And then the offense has looked pretty weird too. Like, it just feels like they're not necessarily settling, but they're going into things just taking what the defense gives them, which I get it, but that is usually literally their entire defensive game plan to make teams do that. So if that's what they're doing on offense, probably means they're not playing the offense that they should be playing.
Right. And the offense has just been stale. I have it on the sheet, Jack. We can bounce back and forth in the Celtics section. This is a good take about the threes on Twitter. This is from Danger Cart. He writes, after this game, the Celtics will fall. This was obviously as the shit was happening yesterday. Fall right in the middle of the league in three-point percentage when the gap between you and the second highest three-point rate team is the same gap between second and 27th. That's not nearly good enough. The Celtics shooting is simply not justifying their three-point volume right now.
Sorry, I missed the mute button. I get it and I understand it. I don't think the problem is the number of threes. I think the problem is the way they're getting the threes, because you look at the way they were playing offense earlier in the season. It was so much dump into Luke Cornett. Luke Cornett will kick out for a three because it collapses the defense. It was a lot of pick and rolls. Tatum gets downhill, kicks out for a three. It is they drive, kick, drive, kick, drive, kick. Right now, it just feels a lot more one-dimensional. And I'd have to go back and look, but it does feel like a lot of the threes they are getting are let's take threes for the sake of taking threes rather than let's get threes as means of the best shot within the offense. And I think a part of it is the Celtics aren't working hard enough to create the threes for themselves. Like, teams are objectively, in my opinion, upping the pressure on the Celtics 3-point shots. The Thunder did it. I think the Kings did a pretty good job of pressing up. I saw a comment today that said, how is 44 threes not enough? It's not what I said. I said it's significantly less than what they were taking when they were winning games. And I think that's a fair analysis or correlation to make. But I think the Celtics just aren't running their offense based on what works best for them. They're running their offense based on what the other team is giving them. And it makes sense to a point because I think the Celtics have enough talented offensive players, but it's not working right now. So I think they need to work harder to generate shots that work for them, if that makes sense. Like they need to do a better job of playing their game, not playing into the game the other team wants them to play.
Yeah, and that is what is the difference this year, or at least lately. If you're not dictating what you're doing, it becomes significantly harder to win. The other team is in control. You don't want that. And this is where we kind of come back to the same conversation of when the threes are not being created, what do you do? What are you going to do? What can you do to change it? And obviously nobody has the answer. I think teams are not as quick to collapse on some of these drives. I do think guys are playing more physical against the Celtics, and it's something that's bothered them this year. There have been several pressers where that's the main theme, and we're talking about physicality, and guys are complaining about the refs and all that stuff too, which is honestly fine that it didn't happen yesterday. Surprised it didn't. Would have felt like it would have just been a perfect opportunity to cry refs yesterday too, but they didn't. And with all that being said, it's just more of the same. It's more quick threes. I think before they won the title, before the 23-24 season, we had this conversation a lot about the threes, and I was very anti-3. You were pro 3. And I disagreed because I think the difference is when you're doing it just to do it, like you said, it doesn't work. It works when you're generating them by good ball movement and good rotation and making the defense sprint around with their heads cut off because they can't possibly cover everybody. There's
Mhm.
also part of this now where defenses can almost do the Celtics thing that the Celtics do and be like, maybe they won't make them because they've been so mediocre this year shooting them. It just hasn't been as efficient either.
Mhm. I'm watching back some of these threes right now from the Kings game. There's a couple that you think maybe they could have passed, but a lot of them are just good ball movement into an open three, and they're just not falling. Like these are the same threes we saw them hit earlier in the season. Is my point. Like a lot of them aren't going down. Like look at this. Well, look at this play. This is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. The Celtics have the ball, top of the key. Jason Tatum has Kevin Huerter on his back. Malik Monk has to help over. He finds Sam Hauser open at the top of the key. Al Horford has the most wide open three you could possibly ask for in the corner, and it's not even close to going in. Like they're just shooting like shit. And I think at the end of the day, as much as we're talking about this, and I think they should be a lot better with the way they hunt offense, I think they need to be a lot better with the way they are defending in big spots. They're just missing a lot of open fucking shots right now. Like I'm gonna go look while you talk next, like at their open 3-point percentage at the start of the year versus now. I think it's hard to grasp and hard to accept, and I think Joe Mazzulla's talked about it too, because people are looking for a reason. They're just missing a lot of fucking shots. Like they're just missing a lot of good shots that were going in a month ago.
I don't disagree that that is a good shot. It is. Horford's been a great shooter for the Celtics pretty much since he's been here. I do wonder if there comes a point where maybe you think about taking a dribble and going to the basket there. How much time is on the
Absolutely
shot
not.
clock?
No world. I don't even want to entertain that. That's ridiculous. Are you
It's
serious?
ridiculous to take an open lane.
He has a wide open three, and Sabonis is in the paint guarding Porzingis. If Horford drived, Sabonis would have just helped, and they would have rotated, and they wouldn't have gotten an open layup there.
Sure, I guess, but you miss either way. I don't know. I don't know
You're
what to
telling
say
me
at this point. Something
that's
has
what
to
I'm
give.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Like missed an open shot, and it's tough to if you're looking for answers when shit's not going right. But in no world should Al Horford not take this shot. There's zero world, and it's just tough to accept because it doesn't go in, and they haven't been going in. That's what I'm saying. That's why I think it's hard for people to like.
At what point does it give?
I don't know. They just have
Never.
to see the shots going down. You think they're going to shoot 20% from three or 30% from three for the rest of the season after the sample size we have? I don't believe that.
I believe that's on the entire season. I'll pull up right now what their rank is 3-point wise for the entire season. We're at a point where it's starting to become a large enough sample size that I'm starting not to know what
They're
to think.
14th in percentage on the season at 36%.
Okay. And they were at what, 38% last year?
Yep, 38.8 last year. Yes.
Okay, so almost 3 percentage points lower. It's a difference maker. They've been far below 36% as of late. I
Mm.
Again, like we're just met with the, well, we have to wait and see in the playoffs because that's really when we're going to find out.
Unfortunately, yeah. like as much as it sucks and it's tough because we have to talk about it, we have to cover the team, we have to do everything. Like a big part of it is shit's not falling right now.
I don't know how you figure that out. I don't know if it's a thing where their legs are just fucking tired because they've played every game for 3 seasons straight and they've played deep into May and guys played in the Olympics. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the solution is. No one does, clearly. I guess that's not really why we're here. But I think some creativity would do them some justice once in a while. Like, maybe Al Horford is not the guy you want to drive that. I'm sure there are opportunities where, let's just say Jalen has a lane. Maybe Jalen should drive. He's
If
more
anybody
athletic
on this
than Al.
team has a wide open corner three, they should take the wide open corner three. I don't care if they've been slumping. I don't care what it is. If they start doing that, that is exactly what Joe Mazzulla has trained them and urged everybody not to do for the entirety of his 3 or 10 year that he has been here. That is, don't overreact. Play with the right process, and things will work out in the end. And it sucks right now because there's been a long stretch of it's not working out. But that doesn't mean you change the way that you've won a championship in Boston. That doesn't mean you change the way that you've been winning at the highest level for X amount of years. Like, it doesn't mean you change that.
This is like playing blackjack, and it's like, do you play the $5 match every hand, or do you not? And you have to either commit to doing it or not doing it. Like, I'm wrong here. I know I'm wrong
Yes.
here, but I'm
Okay.
so frustrated that I don't know what to think anymore. Like, I'm
Sure.
getting so pissed because, like, they're doing the same thing over and over again, and it's not working anymore.
Yeah. They're missing open threes. They're missing wide open threes. I think they're creating good threes. I think there are some threes in some possessions where they need to do a better job. That's not what I'm saying. I think that there are absolutely some per game. But if your solution is drive a wide open corner three, you cannot do that. You just cannot do that with the way the Celtics team plays basketball and with the way they have been trained to operate as a unit. You can't do it.
Listen, I'm wrong. I know I'm wrong. It's just once in a while, just do something different if it's not working. I don't know.
No. Listen, okay. I'm pulling this up just to see if I'm right or wrong. So wide open corner threes. Give me a player and I'll tell you what they shot. And I did it up to December 15th in the season, and then December 15th to now. So like last month. Give me a player.
We'll start with Jalen, just because I said him.
Jalen Brown, wide open threes from the start of the year until December 15th. Sorry, it takes a second to switch from tab to tab. He's shooting 37.8 on 45 attempts. So he was 17 of 45 on wide open threes.
Okay.
Since December 15th, he is 4 of 15 for 26%.
I know anytime it's above like 33%, it's more efficient or whatever. So sure. But that's like a lot of misses at the same time. Like, I don't know why, even like the good stretch, like missing, what is that? 28 out of 45 is a lot.
38%. Al Horford was 32 of 79, 40.5% on wide open threes. Right now, he's below 30%.
On him.
Below 30%. Derek White was 41.7% up to December 15th. Since then, Derek White is shooting 32% on wide open threes. Literally everybody is just shooting like crap on wide open threes right now. It sucks.
I don't know how the fuck the whole team just stops making threes.
It's just, I think the problem is a lot of times when players go through slumps, it's like one player. Right now, it's literally just like half the team is slumping and can't make threes.
I'm sure that'll affect you. Listen, I don't want anybody to take what I'm saying for gospel because I've said it like 3 or 4 times. I know I'm wrong, but I'm upset and I have to have something to say.
Sure. Also, the biggest one, Tatum was 54% on open threes, 20 of 37. Since December 15th, he is down to 6 of 17, 35%. So he's like 20 percentage points worse on.
Well, how many did he make? How many did he take before the?
He hasn't been taking
threshold
that many. 20 of 37. So he only took 37. This
so
is
Tatum.
wide open. So
Tatum's not really that concerned about because he's just not going to get that many.
Exactly, he's not going to get many wide open threes. But Horford, Derek White, and for what it's worth, Pritchard has been consistent. Ironically enough, he's
the other guys are the ones that have to make them. The
Yes.
non-Tatum guys. Anybody that's catch and shoot. Tatum, he's done it more this year, but is not a catch and shoot guy. He's just not.
Yeah.
And that's fine. They ask him to be the distributor, the ball handler, the decision maker. Those are the things he needs to do good at. Even yesterday, inefficient in that. What do you have? 8 turnovers or something? It's an outlier. But I mean, they're playing against the Kings, man. Like the Kings, I know they've won 6 straight since the coach firing, and maybe they're revitalized or whatever. Maybe it was the right move for them. But it's just like, man, you got to take these games when they're right in front of you. It's not like they came out and like were dead right from the beginning, even though Porzingis was like, yeah, I don't know if we came out flat, but I think we were flat the whole game. So he basically said, yes, we were flat.
Yes.
Even if they were flat, they were tied going into the fourth quarter. What happened in the fourth quarter cannot happen. And the reason why people are starting to get upset is because they're seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And when we're talking about the offense putting a strain on the defense, you can't have the offense fall off a cliff in the fourth quarter.
Before we jump to the next thing, I do need to tell you guys about PrizePicks.
Tell them about
PrizePicks. The best place to get real money sports action, over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. That's billions with a B. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000x your cash. Run your game all season long with PrizePicks. My roommate just got PrizePicks recently, as did my friend Danny, and they have been hooked. So shout out to CLNS for the code CLNS, which you guys should use at checkout because you can get hooked to on PrizePicks. They've been using it all the time. They come up to me and they're like, "What do you think of this? I need more than 6.5."
There's nothing worse than being asked what you think of someone's picks, because there's no winning. They either win and come back to you, or they lose and blame you.
Yeah, but it's okay when it's PrizePicks. Basketball season is heating up, and PrizePicks is the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000x your money on PrizePicks, like I said. Also, PrizePicks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sam and I use PrizePicks all the time on the pregame. It's been a minute because we weren't the best at PrizePicks, and so we need to reload our account. We lost a few too many times, but we like picking the more on Celtics player points. We like picking the less on opposing players' points and the more on opposing players' turnovers because, well, that just makes it more fun to root for it. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Yeah, no, I mean, they just haven't been good enough right now. And I was looking at it, and Derek White shooting a lot of the times dictates if they win or lose. Like he was 0 of 6 against Sacramento. He was 2 of 11 against OKC. He was 3 of 12 in the Chicago game they lost. He was 3 of 11 in the Indiana game they lost. And he was 2 of 7 in the Memphis game they lost. Like, he needs to make his open threes if they want to win. I bet the same thing is for Horford. It's like these catch and shoot guys just need to convert on a good number of their threes, because if they're not converting, then what you said happens. Like that Horford example, like he has to take that open corner 3 because if he drives, it's going to be congested. Like you can't turn into Ben Simmons. Like you can't do it. Like we've seen Ben Simmons get completely played off the floor in offensive situations. That's why these guys can't stop shooting the open ones. Like, because like by the numbers, by everything we've ever learned about these guys, they're gonna go in, right? Like they just are. It's just really frustrating, and that people are desperate to search for answers when they're not. And I think at the same time, like the defense hasn't been good enough. It just hasn't been. Like outside of the 3 conversation we're having, like I think a lot of these games outside of the OKC one, the defense hasn't been there. Like if we went through and watched all these possessions in the Kings game in the fourth quarter, which we're not going to do, but like even the one I showed on the post game last night where they just let 2 guys get open threes, there's just not enough hustle. There's not enough perimeter defense being played right now. And it's frustrating.
I mean, they're frustrated, clearly. I mean, the fourth quarter was frustration. We talked about it on the post-game recording. The play where Monk gets the 3 and then Sacramento gets the rebound after he misses a 3 with nobody in the same zip code. The rebound goes right to Sabonis. It is a long rebound, like in Boston's defense. But then Sabonis gets the rebound and everyone just runs away from him. Like they're just like, here, just shoot it again.
Also, if we want to talk about that strategy, they just let Devin Carter make like 3 threes. They just let him. Which
I mean, that's been the thing this year. They love to let the guy shoot threes.
I get it, but there comes a point where like you guys are good enough defensive team that you don't have to do that. Like, and I
This
said
is
that
what
when
I've
I was
been saying.
explaining it. I get it, and I said that when I was explaining it. Like, I understand why they do it, and I think in a playoff series, sure, I'm in. Do it for a playoff series when everything gets so watered down and stuff like that. What's the point in the regular season where you're not going to see this? Like, Devin Carter could shoot bad the next game, and the math could work out, but not for you, not against you. Like, that's not going to matter.
There's also like a layer to this. I think I was talking to Bobby Kravitsky yesterday at the game in the press conference, and we were talking about this specific thing. There's a part of this where, yes, Devin Carter shoots 33% from 3 on the season, and I'm sure the Celtics do more research than just going on Basketball Reference and looking at the percentage.
Mm.
But if you leave him by himself, he's probably going to shoot better than 33.3%. Probably. You can look. I was watching him warm up yesterday, and I turned to all of you and said his shots broke. So I mean, listen, who am I to say don't let him shoot?
He's shooting 56% on wide open threes this year. That said, I think he's 5 of 6, so I think most of them were just in this game.
I also don't think that it didn't feel like the strategy was to make him shoot the threes. If anything, it felt like they were really comfortable with Sabonis shooting.
I just watched a lot of possessions, or 2 of the possessions where he got threes, and one of them was like Kristaps sagging back, but the other one was like, if Kristaps had pressed up anymore, he would have been like able to drive by Kristaps. Yeah. It's tough, man. Like, I feel like their perimeter defense hasn't been where it needs to be. Feels like other teams are getting too many good looks. Like, a lot of the times, these leave the guy open threes that the Kings or other teams are getting is because they have to do it after getting run by on defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not putting in enough effort at the point of attack to where like their defense is collapsed by the time the 3-pointer shooter gets open. Then they're like, all right, we'll just strategize and leave this guy open. But like, if you just stayed in front of your guy in the first place, you wouldn't have had to do that. So that's why I don't get it. This one pissed me off in real time. This one made me mad. Let me pull this up.
Let's see it. Pull it
up. DeMar DeRozan is driving. He drives into Pritchard. Pritchard and Drew Holiday switch. Holiday gets back out to Malik Monk. Jaylen Brown goes for a steal on DeMar DeRozan. It wasn't even close. He like completely abandons his side of the floor to go for the steal where he just timed it horribly. And this was like 2 plays after Sabonis had that wide open 3. And then Derek White's forced to stay in between Keegan Murray and Devin Carter. And Keegan Murray just makes an open 3. Like there was no reason Jaylen Brown needed to go for that play. I've just been watching these as we've been talking to see if there's anything worth talking about. And some of them are like this, like Pritchard plays pretty good defense. DeRozan just shoots over him. He's just small. That's tough, right? I don't know, man. It just like this was a tough layup. I'm sorry, you're Drew Holiday. Like Malik Monk shouldn't just be driving by you like that. Horford shouldn't let Sabonis seal him off so easily. It just feels like there's a lot of things where if the Celtics put in like 2% more effort, they could stop a lot of things that are happening, but they're not. And then it's just like a cakewalk for the other team.
Yeah, and to go back to the Jaylen play, I wrote about it for Celtics blog. I talked to you about it yesterday. The thing that really fucking probably set you off is the Celtics are reeling at this point. Like, it's obvious to everybody watching the game. Like, you need to stop. Jaylen knows that they need to stop, and he knows their offense has nothing, so he has to gamble. And essentially, he gives the Kings a basket, a free look, without them having to even do anything. They didn't have to earn that at all. You can't get a stop and you just give them a gimme. I understand the gamble perspective where it's like, man, we need a spark, got to do something. Maybe if everybody just agreed that the team needed a spark, it would work a lot better. Like maybe we can all just defend.
Yeah. There's this play too, which I'm going to pull up. And I'm going to preface, this was a phenomenal pass by, I think it was Malik Monk. Like, give him credit for the pass. But the way the Celtics play defense here was rough. Malik Monk gets the ball. Derek White guards him. Derek White goes over a ghost screen from Sabonis. And then Drew Holiday and Al Horford both sink to Sabonis. And no one is guarding an entire side of the floor. Keegan Murray's open and he eventually makes a 3. But Devin Carter is also just wide open. And Derek White has to contest over after having to fight over the Sabonis screen. Like,
can you restart this? Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you do? All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Sabonis
all right, drives in.
Here we
Great
go.
Pass.
I've had enough of the fucking ghost screens too. If you're not getting hit, get through. Because if they just agree that Derek is going to get over this, this Sabonis situation doesn't even happen.
Yeah, well, they should have communicated this better because Derek did get over it. It's just Porzingis already stepped up.
So at this point, not only do you have two guys going to Sabonis, you have two guys on Malik Monk.
I know. They should even if the game plan is to switch this, totally fine. But then Kristaps should either stunt and recover, or Derek White should just run out to Keegan Murray immediately instead of staying on Monk. Like you said, they have two guys and two guys here. It just if the game plan is switch this on Sabonis so Sabonis doesn't get a roll, whatever, they've got to communicate that. And they don't communicate anything. And they just stop a drive. And then there's 5 Celtics on one side of the floor.
I don't know what they're doing. Maybe they're experimenting with some sort of defense where they have a really good idea where if they execute it, it's going to be really tough to score on in the playoffs. But I got to tell you, I'm really sick of just seeing. I mean, how many times have we come on here before this stretch? I don't know if we've ever talked about fucking screen navigation. On Christmas Day, we had to sit here and watch them fumble around and figure out how to navigate a screen. The same thing when they lost to the Pacers last month. This is a looming problem. It needs to get fixed.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's brutal. I don't think the perimeter defense has been good enough. I don't think they've been communicating well enough. The offense just hasn't been good enough. They haven't been making shots, and I don't think they've been. I think they've been settling a little too much. Not even settling for threes. If anything, I think the opposite. I think they're settling for drives. And spoiler alert, they're not exactly shooting great in the paint either. They're not exactly doing a great job of finishing inside the arc. So everyone's going to look at the threes because it's easy to say, oh my God, stop shooting threes, because it's more frustrating visually when those don't go in. They're not shooting well from 2 either. That's not working.
There needs to be, I think what's really frustrating a lot of people, including me, is there needs to be something different that is taken away from all of this. And this is not at you. This is literally what they tell us after the game. Then, we're just missing. There are other parts of this game that are affected by you missing, which Missoula said yesterday. You still need to control the things you can control as much as you can. I've said this forever. You got to figure it out. You got to lock in on defense. You can't be having defensive lapses like some of the things that we just pulled up and showed you when your offense is frigid, like you're outside in Oklahoma City last week. It's fucking a brutal watch. Every game, it's the same thing. Oh, we didn't shoot well, so because we didn't shoot well, we can't play defense anymore. Them's the rules. That's essentially what we hear every game.
I think it is true that offense affects defense. I think missing shots objectively does just make it harder in transition and stuff. But a lot of the things we just watched weren't that. They weren't. They are just they are playing bad perimeter defense. They're not communicating. If that is the game plan, sorry, it's a shit game plan. It's clearly not working. You're giving up good looks. Keegan Murray's not a guy you can give up open shots to. I don't know if that's an idea they had, but it just doesn't make sense, a lot of things they're doing. And I get the let the bad shooter guy get a little bit more space, but it can't just be leave him butt naked open, don't even look at him. It has to be, we'll contest late. And a lot of them are just no, we're just gonna leave him open. I don't get it. It's a lot of weirdness that I'm not fully on board with.
I think we tackle all the Celtic stuff except the last thing, which is more fun.
I will say, I want to look at this one last stat. One sec. I want to see if I'm correct or not. No, I'm wrong. They were shooting 57% from 2 till the 15th of December, and they've shot 57% from 2 since. It is just and okay, listen to this. So their shooting splits before December were, or from October 1st to December 15th, were 57.4% from 2 and 36.5% from 3. Since December 15th, they are 57.7% from 2 and 35% from 3. Almost identical. It's a 1.5% drop off in threes, which is not significant enough, at least in my mind, to be the root of all their problems. So it comes back to the defense. It comes back to when they're having these bad shooting games, they need to do what you said and control things. And I think it's frustrating because I think a big part of his shots aren't falling. But there are other small things in between that also need to be talked about. But yes, Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin talked about the Celtics. He was on Carmelo Anthony's podcast recently and basically said that Boston's better than LA or New York, or for him it was. He said playing for the Clippers and the Nets, those are Lakers and Knicks cities. You don't really get the love, but going out in Boston and being able to be in a city where all the love is for you guys, it's dope. He goes, I went out to dinner X amount of times, never got a check. Like basically just like Boston rocked. Shit was great.
Yeah, I really liked Blake Griffin when he was here. I was disappointed that he didn't come back last year to compete for a championship. It would have been nice to get him over the hump, get him a ring. But very happy that he enjoyed his time with the Celtics because if nothing else, it's good PR for the team. It's good to hear players that came here after playing other places and be like, yeah, I fucking loved it there. I mean, listen, it doesn't matter anymore because essentially you can't really win by signing free agents unless it's the fringe guys. But, yeah, everybody listen to Blake. It's great to play here after we just shit on the team for a half hour.
Yep, pretty much. Whatever, man. It's what it is. It's all right. Cool. Before we go to email, I need to remind you guys about Gametime. Gametime is the best place to buy tickets. Let's jump on and maybe look at the Post Malone concert again.
Anything that's not a Celtics game, because if you go watch them at the Garden, they're not going to win.
Clearly. Let's see. Who do we want to look at right now? There's some Bruins games. The Bruins certainly aren't going to win either. Let's look at Coldplay. Or can we look at, I know it's not in the area. Can we look at something at the Sphere? I want to see something at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
You're going to the Sphere.
Vegas. I don't know how to do. Okay,
there it is.
Sphere. Who's going to the Sphere soon? Postcard from Earth. What is that?
It's got to be like one of those. They run the animals on the like the nature things.
Yeah. Well, if you want to go to Postcard from Earth in the Sphere, Gametime's perfect place to do it. You can see the views from your seats. It shows you a star and it shows you exactly what you'll see in the Sphere, which all of these panels will be actually videos. You can check out here. It gives you all in pricing too. So you know exactly what you're paying. And once you get the checkout, you won't have to worry about any extra fees. That's one of the best parts of Gametime. It's one of my favorite parts of Gametime because I remember before Gametime, I would constantly pay more than I thought I was because, well, it wasn't exactly telling me the right price. And then this fire emblem tells you that it is the cheapest price too. And honestly, maybe it's me. I'd rather sit back here because you can see the entire Sphere from this seat clearly. So I think that's a bit better.
You said that maybe, you're going to have neck pain the next day.
Oh, yeah. It's not going to be fun. But yeah, some other features, curated deals to make it easier to find the best price on great seats. The super deal is the best value. Obviously, the fire is the cheapest. Seat views, like I said, on-time ticket delivery, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. All this stuff is great. It's just the best way to buy your tickets. So download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right. Before we go to the email, I want to see what this Earth thing was. What is Postcard?
I just gave you a thumbnail, by the way.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Thank you. Postcard from Earth in the Sphere. I want to see pictures. It's gonna. Whoa! Look at this. Look at Postcard from Earth. Hold on.
Pull it up.
Look at this. This is sick.
Wow. That's.
This is so cool. Look at this. This is kind of fire. Oh,
we didn't go when we went out there either time.
I know. It was so expensive.
Yeah, because it was still new, especially when we went to the NBA Cup.
Yeah. Anyways, email. You guys want to see the email. A reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. Give me a sec to pull them up because I accidentally X'd out of my email because I'm a genius. But we got a couple today. I'm sure you guys are not thrilled after the Kings lost, but we'll go through it. Don't you worry. First one from Paolo Benazzi, who says, so this was 2 days ago. So this is before the Kings game, but he says, trade deadline. Hey guys, we know there's not much room for action at the deadline, but I kind of agree with Washburn when he says we need to add a bit of defensive athleticism at the wing. At the same time, we don't really have room for regular rotation minutes. So why not bring back the open case of energy needed. Brissy, he also played some playoff minutes in a small ball configuration against Indiana, if I remember well. Also, to confirm the usual end of the season upgrade from two ways, a la Hauser, Cornette, Cade the past years, could we move Drew Peterson to the 15 spot by sending Springer plus a second to whoever of a roster spot? Or bring back Tice or Javante for Springer. I know they won't help, but they're still family. Nothing exciting, but this team has nothing to be fixed. Well, plus Brissy TV back in town is actually kind of exciting. Happy New Year. Ciao, Paolo.
I think this was something that was discussed yesterday. Am I correct on that?
When?
I think it was during the warm-ups, like early, like when we were all hanging out behind the bench.
Oh, I don't remember.
Maybe it was just me and Bobby talking about what if they just brought Brissett back? Like they need that boost off the bench. They need the energy from him hyping everybody up.
Oh, someone made a joke. Who made a joke? It was Harris. No, it wasn't Harris. Who was it? Somebody made a joke about bringing Brissy back. It's Taylor Snow. Taylor Snow made a joke about bringing Brissy back. Maybe someone made a joke. I don't think Brissett is the solution. But maybe that's me.
Hey, listen, I wouldn't hate it. They clearly
I wouldn't
like
hate him back. I love him. I think Brissett's great, but I don't think that would solve much. Thank you, Paolo. And Tyser Springer or Tyser Javante, sure. I don't think it'll happen, but I wouldn't hate it. I think it's okay. Next email from Joe Abbey. This is before the Kings game as well. Hey, fellas, Celtics looking decent so far this season. Glad they 3-1 this road trip. I think people are so caught up by the hot Cavs and Thunder to realize Celtics are still performing somewhat similarly to last year. With injuries and variants, I'd like to see the ramp up after the All-Star break. See where the Celtics can improve. Slander. I'm so glad Jimmy is finally crashed and burned in Miami. The attention merchant has no right to quit on his team yet. Again, I'm glad Riley slapped his royal fraudulence with that suspension. To be honest, he should just slap him. He and his antics with telling his agent that he only wants to go to Phoenix after leaking via that chronically online puppet Shams that he could go anywhere. It's disgraceful and dramatic. What a bum. Hope they send him to Siberia. Yes. Sam, are you familiar with Warwick, Rhode Island? I have an appointment there in a couple weeks in the morning and want to know any good places to eat while I'm in town. Anyways, Butler's a bum.
Warwick, Rhode Island.
Etc.
Depends.
Yeah.
So it depends where your appointment is. If your appointment is like near Kent Hospital, there is Cafe Tempo over there, which is like a coffee house. There's I'm not as familiar. There's Tees, which isn't that far down the road in East Greenwich, which is excellent. If you're on the northern side of Warwick, there's Johnny Chalet, which is near the highway. There's an IHOP. There's so many good places to eat here. Hope you enjoy Warwick.
I will say, for as bad as the Celtics are playing, and I think it's important to acknowledge that they aren't playing up to Celtics basketball, I do think there is an element that is bringing more panic than people necessarily would. The Celtics realistically are like not too far behind their pace from last year. It's still off, and I still don't think they're playing up to par. But I think the Cavs and Thunder being this significantly historically great has some people thrown off. Like they're on 70+ win paces right now. Like that's not a normal thing. Just added context.
I mean, the Celtics have lost 7 fewer games at this point than they had lost all last season. So, I mean, I know you said they're not exactly on pace, but it just feels worse.
They're a little behind pace. They
sucks
definitely
that they've lost 7 in the last 15. Like that definitely affects it.
The Celtics obviously aren't playing up to par, but what I'm saying is if they were first in the conference still, I don't think the panic would be as bad. Not even close.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Because we'd all be like, well, they're still better than all these teams that were supposed to come to the throne. You know.
Last RJ, even folks, so was it the rebounding, the turnovers, lack of execution on defense or offense? This is from after the Kings game. Maybe E, all of the above. Celtics looked disconnected throughout the game. Kristaps and JB had good starts, but no one else. When JT locked in, other people were missing. D. White now in a combined 0 of 9 from 3. Celtics look like Phoenix tonight. Lots of talent that didn't coalesce. We'll see what Sunday brings. Be well, RJ. Yeah, I mean, we talked about it, but they certainly didn't look great.
Horrible. Terrible, disgusting.
All right, let's go check the NBA standings, see what's going on around the league. And surprise, surprise, the Cavs are still in first place in the Eastern Conference because, like I said, they're on a 70-win pace. They're damn good. 33 and 4.
Celtics suck.
Celtics are in second place at 27 and 11. Knicks are in third at 25 and 14. Then you got the Bucks, Magic, Pacers. Magic are being passed by the Bucks slowly, even though Paolo made his return, so it's good to see him back on the court. Heat, Pistons, Hawks, Bulls in the play-in. Sixers still knocking on the door, about 2 games back of the Bulls. Then you got the Nets, Hornets, Raptors, and Wizards rounding out the conference. Hornets finally won, by the way. They beat the Suns.
It's a shame, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's nice to see that the Cavs are really the only team in the East that feels like they know what they're doing. The
Well,
Knicks have struggled at times. Milwaukee
Sure.
is hot and cold. Orlando has been unhealthy. All the teams below that are flirting with that 6th spot have been inconsistent. And Philly's still not even in the play-in yet. Like, they're still trying to fight their way out of the hole that they dug themselves at the beginning of the season. Listen, I don't think that we should all be panicking, but I think the frustration's fair because they could, if nothing else, they could be further ahead of the teams below them. I'm not saying that they should be trying to catch the Cavs or be like, oh, we shouldn't be behind the Cavs. Like, I don't know, man. Like you said, they're 33-4. What are you going to do? You could have made them 32-5. You beat them the second time. Other than that, you can't really control it.
It's tough. They're just a good team, man. They're just really good. They beat the Thunder. they're good. They're a damn good team. Speaking of the Thunder, they're still atop the West, 31-6, which is
Just
also
beat the
crazy.
brakes off the Knicks.
Yeah. Rockets in second. Then you got Grizzlies, Nuggets, Mavs, Lakers. Play-in is the Wolves, Clippers, Kings, and Warriors. Spurs have fallen out of that mix for the time being. They've lost 3 in a row. Then you got the Suns, and then Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans down there at the bottom.
It's remarkable how well the Kings have recovered. I know we talked about it because the Celtics obviously
good,
lost to them yesterday. 6 in a row is pretty impressive after losing at least 4 straight before that. I don't know what the streak exactly was, but they're 6-4 in their last 10. All the other 4 had to be in a row. San Antonio falling back kind of sucks. I think I'm rooting for them over some of these other teams that are in the play-in. Like, I don't really care if the Warriors get in, man. I think having Wemby involved in the postseason is fun for just about everybody, unless your team's a rival of the Spurs, which I think Phoenix is one of the big ones for that. And Phoenix isn't doing themselves any favors getting out of that fucking hole because they suck too.
I will also say about the Kings, like, even when they were down below the play-in, they still had a positive point differential. Like, you could see that it wasn't as bad as people thought it was. And
the Lakers, by the way, still have the 4th worst. I mean, the whatever. 4th.
They have a negative point
4th from the worst.
Sure. They're winning games. This is the only stat that matters, evidently. It is what it is. Next thing, Josh Hart said something I don't understand. You'll have to explain to me what is happening with this.
All right, so the Knicks got the brakes beat off them, like I said, last night. And after the game, Josh Hart was kind of asked about the Knicks and, if because they just lost 2 to OKC and they lost to the Celtics earlier this season. Like, I don't know if they've had any major signature wins. Like, they haven't not beaten anybody, but I don't know if there's been any days where it's just like, holy shit, they beat this team. So anyways, he was asked about that kind of thing and if they have enough to compete with the top 8 teams in the NBA. And the answer he gave sounded very similar to something you would hear from a team like the 2019 Celtics. I'm not saying it's the same team, but I just thought this was interesting because he says he thinks that they have the talent, but the energy isn't there. He says we have to go out there with energy. We have to go out there with no egos, which is the big part of this. We have to go out there with no individual agendas, and we have to go out there and sacrifice. The reason why this caught my attention was because I saw somebody on the Knicks beat tweet about this and say, this isn't the first time he's said something concerning egos, sacrifice, all that stuff. And those are common themes when you have as talented of a roster as the Knicks do. Like, we heard all of those themes all of last season with the Celtics. But the reason why we heard about them was because we were all so impressed with how they had tucked that away. And they had been willing to sacrifice, and guys are taking less shots, and it's translating to wins, and nobody really seems to be getting a majority of the credit. With this being a consistent theme, you have to wonder if there's a little bit of a tension in there. Not saying it's the end of the world. I'm not saying it's anything like that. It's just something that caught my attention considering the Knicks. I think they've lost 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I don't think it's nothing. I will say I do think there's part of it, like, maybe he is just playing the a quieter version of the Marcus Smart. These guys got to pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, which can work, and it did work eventually that season. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there's
He's
anything
gonna pass.
malicious.
What a line.
I don't think there's anything malicious from what Josh Hart is saying, but if there was anyone on that team who would be like, hey, stop being fucking selfish, it would be Josh Hart. And I don't think it would come from a place of like, I hate you guys. I think it would come from a place of like, you guys are being idiots. Like, be better. I know you can be better, so you should be better. And so maybe it's as simple as that. I don't think there's anything crazy to like overreact to here, but it is interesting to hear that he said it multiple times.
Yeah, see, like that's the only reason I put it. I mean, guys are going to say stuff like this every once in a while, but him saying it multiple times, maybe it is a leadership thing, like you mentioned, but it means that there's something to be smoothed over. I only put it first because I thought it tied in with the standings. And the big story everyone wants to hear about, of course, is Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Jimmy Butler, man. I mean, this is what I think of whenever we have to talk about Jimmy Butler again. It's just fucking come on down. Butler, come on down. All right. Yeah, the latest in the Jimmy Butler saga. You put this on here. Thank you. Tim Hardaway Jr. went on Sirius XM and said that Pat Riley gave the NBPA a 10-page letter and film to justify why they suspended Jimmy Butler. Funny. Did you hear? Okay, yep, you have it. Butler, in a video he posted in his coffee shop, was talking to his employee, and he said, "You see that? I give you a compliment. That's what bosses do. We build you up, not break you down." Which is like, oh, okay. Recently, Riley went to the Dan Le Batard show and broke down what heat culture is all about in an interview that was apparently recorded prior to the Jimmy Butler saga. He said there's a difference. Be who you want to be, but in one of the great biblical terms, render unto Caesar, you know what is his. As players, they have to render unto heat really what is theirs too. And while they go out there and do all these other things, you can't shortcut it with us. Actually explain this to the players. Is that while they're under contract with us, you owe us something. Your collective bargaining agreement contract says that, so never take it lightly. We have a very cooperative group of people. This is just a cult, man. This just sounds like a cult. I would not want to be part of this organization.
It sounds like they have a job and they have to do their job. Like that. The reason why I like that so much is because like he's right. These dudes in the NBA,
I don't like that.
You don't like that they have to play games because they're getting paid to play games?
No. There's a difference between wanting. Like there's a difference between a manager. Like I'm comparing this to like if I worked in like a restaurant, like I'm a manager, right? Like a real job. There's a difference between your manager like having you work, making sure you do your job and everything, versus like you better do you better do this or there's gonna be being a dick.
Sure.
Pat Riley's a douche. Like this comes off as like you better do this or I'm gonna make your life hell. Like you better do exactly what I say it, no matter what, on and off the court. Like because the difference is like at a job, you get to go home after. Pat Riley's basically saying like, I own you when you're a part of the Heat. Like that's not that, you know, like that's fucked up. I don't like this at all. Like I don't fuck with this.
Maybe we're reading it differently. Like, listen, I think with all the context of like, you know, you owe the Heat, whatever. But I think like the baseline of like, yeah, you're under contract. Like, I think that's like really forgotten a lot when guys just request trades and all that stuff. The Jimmy trade stuff is so interesting to me because Jimmy is one of those guys that was like the perfect Heat guy. Like he was the poster for like Heat culture.
And if he's sick of it,
I think he knows
something about Heat culture.
No, I think he knows that because with the contract negotiations and him not getting what he wanted, he's probably so disappointed that he bought in so hard and the team is not buying back in him.
Because they're a cult and they need you to do everything for them and just accept what the difference is. Like, I wholly understand and I get what you're saying, but that is not how I read this. Like, I understand when you are part of an organization, you play for that team, you need to work hard for that team, you need to do that. And I think that's what the Celtics promote. I think that's what a team like the Thunder promotes. Like, you are part of this team, you build as a team. The difference is in Boston, it is come here, do your job, go home, be your own person. Like, that is what they do. In OKC, obviously I'm not on the ground there, so I don't know. But it seems to me they're like, we're a family here. We're going to love each other. We're going to appreciate each other. Like, look at all those post-game interviews. So fun. In Miami, it is a fucking dictatorship. It is you do what I say when you say it. I don't care if you fucking like it because you're going to do it anyways. Versus, hey, listen, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to do to buy in. If we can do this, we can win. Not do it without asking questions. And that's what I hear from Pat Riley, which is, I think, the worst possible way you can run something.
Yeah, I see that. Just one final note on the Jimmy thing is the Warriors are not interested in trading Kuminga or giving Jimmy an extension. This is from Sam Amick.
You see what the Suns wanted to give him for an extension?
No.
2 years, 121.
So here's what I'll say is the 2-year
years isn't
contracts
bad.
aren't as bad. Phoenix just keeps making the same
They
mistake.
can't. I know they can't. They don't.
They're addicted to giving out lucrative contracts and then strapping themselves around the fringes.
It's
You got to be real confident in your scouting department, which I guess they can be. This year they've hit on both the guys. But to be like, yeah, we'll just pay everybody whatever they want. And, oh, yeah, the rotation guys, oh, we have nothing for them. Good luck.
Yeah, it's interesting. Very weird. Last thing before I forgot to do the timestamp for Jimmy Butler. Damn. Last thing before Rat List. Russ both had triple doubles in the same game.
18th time in NBA history that has ever happened.
We'll say Russ has been playing really well this year. He's been really good.
He has. I put that on the sheet. I said Russ has significantly overachieved in Denver. Hand up, because I was like, he's going to suck. Makes no sense to put a guy that can't shoot next to Jokic, whatever. I think it's helped that, not helped, but he has been presented more of an opportunity because Murray hasn't been great.
Yeah.
So that has something to do with it. But overall, he's definitely one of the best signings of the summer for them. He's given them way more than they bargained for. Is there anybody else around the league that you would say is just a home run signing that the team got this year? I'm trying to think off the top of my head. KCP is a good one in Orlando. Malik Beasley in Detroit has been great. I don't know if that was a trade or I think it was just a signing. He's been real good.
Yeah, he's averaging 16.
No, he's been really good. Yeah,
I know. Pope hasn't been as good as I thought. Let me look at the list of NBA free agency signings, see if I can remember. Not Paul George.
Paul George,
Not
great
Paul
signing.
George.
Paul George was a great signing actually for the Clippers. The Clippers are playing better than Philly.
Let's see who is signed. Oh, Isaiah Hartenstein has been so good.
Yeah, but we all kind of knew that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's been so good.
What has he lost? One game?
Yeah. Yes. He's averaging 12, 12, and 4 on 56% shooting from the field and a steal and over a block.
He was good against the Celtics. He doesn't miss that fucking push shot. He does not miss it.
Excuse me. No. Clay's been all right. Not perfect, but all right. It doesn't matter at all, but Valanciunas has been pretty good for the fucking Wizards.
Well, it matters a little bit because they signed him to trade him. So if he can promote and push his trade value high enough,
well.
I mean, the Lakers have been interested in him from day one.
It's true. Oh, Chris Paul has been great for Wemby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
When they come to town.
I don't know if he's been playing super well individually. He's averaging 10, 4, and 8 on.
You see Wemby
36 splits,
4th on the NBA.com MVP ladder.
Sure. Is he above Tatum? Is that why you're upset?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's interesting.
You know I don't care about that kind of thing.
He is averaging 4 blocks a game. What a ridiculous statistic. He's averaging 4 blocks. I think he's averaging more blocks per game than the Heat. I'm pretty sure that's a stat that I've seen. Hold on, let me see. Wemby is averaging more blocks per game than than the Heat or than the Bucks. Or no, that's blocks allowed. He's averaging more blocks per game than 2 NBA franchises. Heat and the Nets. What a crazy stat.
It's weird when Bam's on the Heat.
He's not a big shot blocker. I think he's more of
only when Tatum's going to the rim in the bubble.
It's true. All right, Ratless, Sam, what do you got?
Ratless is snow. It's snowing here. Fucking brutal. I went running today. It was getting in my eyes and shit. Listen, I don't like running with the snow on the ground, but if it's coming down, I'll go outside. I don't really care. Like I'm good with running in the rain. I just don't like it if I'm going to slip.
Mm-hmm.
I did not expect it to be as visually impairing as it was. I made it. Run was successful, no injuries, but out on the snow, it's annoying. It sticks around for too long, and it's just a pain in the ass to clean up. Haven't even gotten to my car yet.
Yeah, that's not fun. All right. I need to tell a sad tale of our game today.
Oh no.
So I coached 4th and 5th graders in Malden. It's very fun. I genuinely had a lot of fun today, like coaching. So we played 2 20-minute halves. We were up 9-4 through the first half of the game. Do you want to guess what the final score of the game was?
I hope it wasn't like 10-9. It was?
It was 11-12.
Oh no.
We scored 1 bucket in the second half.
Sounds like another team I know.
The worst part, we had maybe 7 shots in the last 60 seconds of the game. And
that's the beauty of youth basketball, though, because it's so fun.
Dude, listen. So first off, we started off the second half. The ref tried to have us go the wrong way. Isn't it? It was like, no, you got to switch. You guys got to switch. Or the ref is awful. He's so bad. Doesn't care.
Sounds like another
calls
team
the
I
wrong
know.
things. He calls the wrong things. He's like, it like clearly goes off one player. He goes to the other side. He almost got in a fight before the game before. It's like he went up to one of the coaches and was like, what do you want to say? I'll give you a tech right now. And the other coach was like, dude, like he's just like, he's awful, right? He's a nice enough guy, but he's awful at reffing.
Okay.
But we opened the second half. We play defense for one possession, play offense for another possession, and then one of our players gets a steal and proceeds to run to the wrong basket. And we had already gone through like 2 possessions of playing on the right hoops. And so, this kid is like one of our best players, and everyone's screaming, no. And he doesn't score, but they get the rebound right after because they all flocked and like scored right after him. And keep in mind, we lost by 1 point. So there's that. Then we're playing. It gets down to like last minute, right? And I've been telling one of our kids, like, hey, stop reaching in. You're getting called for a foul. And as I'm screaming, stop reaching, he steals the ball. And I was like, time out. Because I'm like, I went to him like, hey, you got to be careful. Good steal, though. Good job. Like, he did it. So we have the ball, 37 seconds left. And we're down by 1. I called timeout. I set something up. When I say something up, I was just like, you stand here, right? You can't, there's nothing to run. It is just stand here, get open. And I had one of our kids try to get open. We got a shot and didn't fall. Talk about shots, didn't fall. One of our guys stepped out of bounds and then passed it, and then we scored, but he was out. So they called that one. So we were
Oh my gosh. They went
and
to
all the
review.
kids, they all came up to me after the game and were like, we scored though. I'm like, no, they called it out of bounds, guys. Like they called it in real time, but whatever. And so they have the ball, but under 2 minutes, you're allowed to press. There's no pressing until the last 2 minutes of the game. So I was like, press, go. And we got to steal. And then, or no, before that, we got the ball because they went out of bounds after they tried to get a rebound. And we passed it in to this girl who's on our team who is always open, but she's very short. So it's tough for them to see her. And it's tough. We got it to her and she got fouled and she went to the line for 2 free throws and they both like rolled off the rim. Like they were both there. And I fell to my knees. I literally on the sideline, I was on my knees. I was like, no, because she always comes up to you like, I'm open. I promise I'm open. I'm like, I know. And I wanted it for her so bad. Like I was like, please. But it didn't fall. And they got the rebound. And I called a press again. And I started pressing some more. And they were dribbling down and we stole it with 6 seconds left on the clock. We stole it. And this kid gets it, dumps it all the way in to the tallest kid on our team, who is by himself in the paint. 3 seconds left, 2 seconds left. He takes a layup, no one near him, rims out, and we lose the game. Like we had a shot up to win the game with 3 seconds left, and it just unlucky bounce. It's just we should have blown this team out. Like we should have killed them, but just couldn't make layups, man. Oh my god, I wanted it for the kids so bad. They were all so sad after. I'm like, fuck. Oh, we were right there. We when I tell you we played so well though, defense was great. Clearly, we gave up 12 points. We missed so many good looks. I was so sad. It was so unlucky for most of it. Damn.
I like this.
I was so deflated.
Coaching is fun. Like,
yeah,
I did it for years when I was younger and had a little bit more time. Like, it's
I was
a good
really
time.
close to yelling at the ref. Like, I was trying my best to keep it in. It was like blatantly like not like missed foul calls or not this, but like that went out of bounds off the other team. What are you doing? Like, dude, like everyone in the arena knew it. Like they started playing defense and we started lining up to pass the ball in and you said no. Like everyone knew what the correct call was.
I got nothing. I can't follow that.
The last 2 weeks, I'm convinced, like we were the better team. We just like when it's so high paced, they just smoke the layups. Like it is just like they bounce off the rim or they throw them up too hard because they're rushing or something, and it's just. But the defense is so good.
They're
like I have
kids.
this one kid. I know. I have this one kid stand all the way back in the paint, and he plays defense at the rim, like on everybody. He's roaming. I have these two. Dude, I have these two kids on my team who I swear to God are like prime Chris Dunn. They just fucking rip the ball from everybody. It's sick. They go up there. They're Scottie Pippen. They are Chris Dunn and Scottie Pippen's crazy, by the way. They just take it. Like, and they get called for a couple fouls, but they are like phenomenal defenders. And then I got a couple kids who don't exactly know where to go on that end. But dude, we should have won these last 2 weeks because the team we're playing next week.
Better than you thought, though, so far.
Yes, we should be winning these games 100%. Like the defense we're playing I'm so happy with. I'm so happy with the shots we're getting too. It is just the layups are just like, oh my god, they're just not going in, man. It's so upsetting. But we're playing really good. I want it so bad for them because they like coming into the season, they were like, we're not going to win a game. Like, do you think we can win? I'm like, yes. And after the first game, they left like, okay, wait, maybe we can win. And then so to lose this game by 1 broke my heart. I was so upset. But anyways,
it is really fun. Like,
I'm
glad you're getting to do it.
And the best part is I get to build a team now because the 4th graders who are on our team this year are going to be 5th graders on our team next year. So we get to build a farm system.
You're going to go all the other games and scout.
Go Qs, man. Go Qs. All right. We lost because we went the wrong way and they got a free basket. That's what makes me the most upset. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics. And I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Kings. Sure you loved it. Make sure you hit the bell. Jack and I are here every single day with new stuff at 5 a.m. Full pods like this one, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps morning after each game. Other videos in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. Streams, pregame is live a half hour before every single game. Spotify and Apple, we're there too. All pods and recaps in your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We're reading them every recording like this one, so get them in. Socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jackson NBA. Mine's at Samuel France NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac.